Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is the outbound policies and firewall rules. So let's go to the outbound policies. Next can be found under advanced and then outbound policies. So this is the default one that you'll find there. You can click on add rule, and that's our screen for adding the rules. So outbound policies determine how traffic is handled and which WAN is used by a particular traffic or device. Rules are matched from the top to the bottom. If a rule is matched, the rest of the rules are ignored for that particular traffic. So let's have a look at some of the different options available. So the source is where the traffic is coming from. Again, these question marks here do explain it, what is being done by a particular rule in that. So the source can be an individual device, that will be an IP address or a MAC address. You can select a IP network, so that's the whole subnet, so like the VLANs we created, or you can select a client's associated SSID. So that's just for clients that are connected via Wi-Fi to a particular SSID, not the device that's physically connected to the network. So if you select any, that's going to be any device on your network. So I'm just going to create a rule here and call it all to SpeedFusion. So traffic from anywhere on my network going to anywhere. So again, with a destination, that's where the traffic is going on the internet. Not which WAN it's using to get there, but where it's going on the network. So you can do domain name and things like that. Generally, you'll just select any for that as well. So protocol, you can select what protocol is going there. So for example, SMTP or syslog, you can select that, just a particular protocol goes over a WAN. So we have 8 algorithms available to us. Each one has a different purpose and a different way it operates. So weighted balance is used for load balancing across different WANs, and it's done via session. So for example, I'll just get rid of all to SpeedFusion because it's not going to be that just now, but this is going to be weighted balance to say all the cellular WANs are available. So we can just move all the Ethernet WANs to 0 and the USB and the Wi-Fi WANs as well. So what's going to happen here is that the traffic is going to be distributed on a session based across those cellular internet connections. If you just want it to be a particular network, say the crew VLAN, we could add that here. So the crew VLAN is 192.168.51.0, and that'll mean any traffic from the crew VLAN will then be forced to use that rule. At the very bottom, there is an option of when no connection is available. If you select drop the traffic, the crew would have no access to the internet if all the cellular WANs fail with this rule. However, if you select fail through the next rule, you can create another rule below this rule that will direct crew traffic to another WAN, for example, VSAT. If you're using SpeedFusion, you can create a rule of priority or enforced to direct traffic to the SpeedFusion tunnel. So that's what I'm going to create now, and it's a rule that I will use later on. So I'm going to call it all to SpeedFusion. So any traffic going anywhere, I want to enforce it, and I want that to go over the VPN to the Fusion Hub. I'm not going to enable this just yet because I'm going to enable it once I do the demo of the SpeedFusion failover. So at the moment, I'll just show you my network connections on my computer. So currently, it won't actually allow me to bring that up onto the screen. But my network connections, I've got an Ethernet cable connected directly to this PEPWave, and I am not using my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is turned off. I'm just going to go over a few questions that we've had come through there on the Q&As. So Tom Robinson's asked, if you set the DNS on the LAN VLAN, then the local clients won't be able to resolve names of their local client servers. Why would you do this? Would it not be better to set an upstream DNS on your WAN connection for when it passes the name of a resolution up the chain. The reason why I set the DNS servers manually is due to I've seen issues quite often where a VSAT might have a DNS server and then the cellular might as well, and if clients connect while they're using one and not the other one, it takes those DNS servers, and then when the WAN changes and the WAN that the device is connected to, the DNS servers are not incorrect on the client's device then. So I find it's better that they have the static servers. If you've got local services that need to be accessed, then you can configure those to be accessed using your own DNS records on the device. David Ashton asked, do you have to keep the HTTPS persistence rule? No, you don't have to. There's a default rule below here that you can create, and you can customize that to have a default rule there. That's the last resort. So you can create the rules however you want them to be as simple as you want or as advanced as you want. Okay, so the APs, the AP controller can only control access points that are from PEPWave. So although you can use other access points on the LAN, you'd have to configure them manually or use a separate AP controller from that vendor. Our built-in AP controller can only work with our own APs. It would be impossible to support all the vendors that are out there. The forum address is forum.peplink.com. Sign up there. There's a lot of information on the forum, so go and join up. Okay, so let's have a brief look at the firewall rules now. So the firewall rules allow you to block particular devices or traffic. So generally on a vessel, you're mostly going to be looking at the outbound firewalls because most of the traffic is outbound. There's very low traffic and very rare that you'll have inbound traffic to a vessel. So it's similar to the outbound policy there. So you can create it by protocol or source or destination. So if you had a device that you wanted to block them from access to the internet, you could block them by the MAC address or the IP address, also via the whole subnet. So if you wanted to block a whole network from accessing the internet for a particular reason, you could add that rule here. So we could go 192.52, let's go 52.0/24 destination any, and then you change it from the action from allow to deny. And when you save that rule and then hit apply, that'll then be blocking the owner or the guest network from accessing the internet. So I'm not going to apply that now because we don't really want it. Inbound rules, so that would be if you had a static public IP address, so say on your VSAT you might have that. You can create rules there that block inbound rules, and you might want to block everything on that because you just don't want anything accessing the vessel via that IP address. Internal network firewalls and local service firewalls, that's all to do with transition between things like devices on the different VLANs and devices at the other end of the SpeedFusion tunnel. So if you have multiple devices connected to your SpeedFusion tunnel, you can block them there as well. And we've also got the content blocking here as well. So you can use our content blocking there to block particular categories. You can also block different categories here. So there's a whole lot of categories that we've predefined, and you can block them as well. So Stone has asked, is my traffic going from the internet to the yacht to the SpeedFusion cloud? The demo I'm using today is actually using an HT4MBX and Fusion Hub and Amazon Web Service. I set up a Fusion Hub earlier, and that's what I'm using. I'm not actually using our SpeedFusion Cloud, however you could use that. Okay, so that is the firewall rules. So again, the firewall rules, the access rules, if you have multiple there, they're matched from top to bottom. For rules matched, it stops hunting.